Okay, great.
Woo.
All right, let's start right away. Let's do it. Okay, welcome.
Thank you so much.
I am so honored to have you here.
So excited to be here. Thanks for asking me on.
Yes, of course. So I have been bringing on girls from Playboy. You're not on Playboy though.
I'm not.
But I really wanted this to be kind of all-encompassing of women in entertainment. And you are a woman in entertainment, very much so.
It's true.
Let's jump in and tell us about yourself. Who are you? What do you do?
I'm Priscilla. I'm a full-time professional circus artist and coach. I'm originally from New Hampshire, but I've moved around a lot. Eventually ending up here, of course, to follow my dream like the rest of us.
Hollywood, baby.
Yeah. What else do you want to know?
I mean, that's pretty solid.
Yeah.
You know who you are, what you do.
Foundation.
Yeah. I have so many things that I want to ask you and talk about. So we're just going to jump in.
Let's do it.
Okay. First thing, your backstory.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone always tells me I have such an interesting backstory. You're probably the first person where I'm like, holy shit. That is an interesting backstory.
Yeah.
So what, like, I guess, what was your childhood like?
Ooh, that's a hard one to summarize.
Yeah, I know it's not a small question.
Let's see. I grew up in a religious cult. I was homeschooled and I knew like 2 other families up until the age of like 9 when I was then taken out of the custody of my biological parents from the state and moved in with my alcoholic grandfather, and then was adopted by another family when he was about to die.
Wow.
So bounced around a lot from a small age.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Do you think bouncing around so much and having such like, you know, this childhood that's kind of thrown you all over the place, do you think that contributed to you being a circus artist?
100%. I was
It's almost like you were like made for it.
Yeah,
like,
quite literally.
Yeah. Run away with the circus. You're pretty much already there. Like,
yeah. Well, 2 things I would say. Number one, because of the religious cult, I was, taught to be modest. I had to wear dresses. I had to talk a certain way, act a certain way, pray every day, all that. Can I swear on here?
Yeah, you're good.
All that bullshit.
Yeah.
But I was super brainwashed, so I didn't know anything else, like our church was literally in our basement.
Wow.
Yeah.
In your parents' basement?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. It would get like smaller and smaller. So like
the basement or the
the amount of people that would attend the church.
Okay.
It was like down to only like a few families towards the end there.
So was this religion your parents' religion?
Yeah.
Get out.
Yeah.
Your parents started a religion.
They didn't start the religion,
Or
but
they
somehow got coined into it,
Oh my gosh, interesting. So it's not like a Christian thing or Buddhist. It's like
born again Christianity. Is
oh,
what
okay,
they call
okay.
themselves.
I see.
It's really fucked, honestly.
Okay.
But I always really, maybe it's because I'm an Aquarius, so by nature I'm very rebellious. But I liked pissing them off, even though that would lead to us being beat. But I just liked pissing them off.
Oh
so I would do things on purpose to piss them off.
Shit.
So that's one aspect of wanting to like be a pole dancer.
I know. I was like,
I'm like,
I have to go and see this.
Yeah. So I love that I went the total like opposite end of the spectrum and the furthest away I possibly could in the same country. So like New Hampshire's like there and LA is here.
So dancer-esque.
Yeah. That and then like from a really young age I loved like flipping around in my yard. I like could cartwheel and like back walk over like easily.
Okay.
So I always wanted to be in gymnastics, but my parents didn't believe in that. And so not until I moved in with my grandfather and when I was 13 did I start gymnastics.
Oh my gosh.
Which is when like everybody normally retires.
Yeah.
So
Wild.
I was the oldest, the tallest, the heaviest, the only one with tits like in gymnastics. But I loved it, and I did that for 5 years.
Okay.
And I competed, and then by 18, when I was like gearing up to go to college, I wasn't good enough. Thank you so much. I wasn't at a high enough level to like do it in college, and so that really bummed me out because I loved moving my body.
Yeah.
So I tried all these different types of exercises, CrossFit, Zumba, Pilates, and like none of them really, I always liked being fit, but like none of them really struck. And then it wasn't until I was living in Argentina actually with my partner of the time that I felt confident enough, because I was in a totally different country, away from all the people that I knew that could potentially judge me, to try a pole dancing class.
Oh, wow.
Because I had seen like some photos and I was like, I don't know, I kind of feel like I could like maybe do that.
Yeah.
And then I got like quite a few tricks on my first class and I was like, this is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Like, I'm getting a membership. Like I tried silks in the same week, immediately jumped right into it, competed. Okay. Ended up winning the competition and was like, I think I love this.
Shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Were you working at the time or?
Yeah, I was in the corporate world for a while first.
Oh my gosh, crazy. But then you just knew I got to go all in on this.
Kind of. I had to stop in Miami first. I moved to Miami and then I started teaching and was still working in the corporate world. And I found myself every day like making up excuses to my boss so I could sprint out of the office to like get to the studio sooner so I could just train more, because I'm like, this is what I love.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so I wasn't planning on asking this, but I have to ask now. So you, as a kid, were rebellious and you wanted to piss them off and you knew you would get beat.
Yeah.
So, as a circus artist, I'd say we're all masochists. Nobody's not a masochist who's like, let me light myself on fire. Right. Like, we are very masochistic. I think we are probably the most masochistic people.
You have to be.
In the world, minus like maybe some really crazy BDSM shit. Like, we're right next to that though.
I mean, I'm like in that too, so.
Yeah.
There we go.
You're full on. Well, and I can't even say I'm not. I got my little weird kinks, Like, I'm pretty sure I have a bite mark here somewhere.
I'm like, did I give it to you?
We are very similar, so it wouldn't be a surprise. Okay, so would you say, were you born a masochist, or would you say your childhood created a masochistic?
That's a really good question.
Yeah.
I would say maybe because I didn't know anything else when I was young. Like, I was really sheltered. Like, I didn't know other families. We didn't have TV. We didn't like,
oh my God.
Nothing, like lived in the boonies. So I don't know when it developed that I liked pissing them off, but I would say it would probably be more attributed to childhood. But then again, I'm an Aquarius. So like, I've always loved, someone tells me not to do something, I'm probably going to do it.
Yeah.
Just because I don't know. That's just
then
how
you have the physical pain that comes. I've like thought a lot about like my masochism, and I've noticed like, I have this thing where either when I'm in pain, I almost want to feel greater pain or like physical pain to distract me from my emotional pain, or when I shut off my feelings, like I need something to help me feel again.
Like a release. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I can tend to, like, it can be easy for me to just like cut something off and be like, I don't feel anything. And then I continue to not be able, I can be like, there's been so many times I've gone on dates and I'm like, and a guy will kiss me at the end and I'll be like, I don't feel anything. Yeah. But then, the next day back in the day, the next day I would go and get like fucked and like come back with bruises and bite marks like crazy. Yeah. Because like I would be so discouraged over the fact that like I feel like I can't feel anymore. And that's why, after my divorce, I went into circus because I was so devastated that the man I had loved for 7 years was so much more broken than I realized, and dangerous too. Yeah. So it was like, I needed to feel something.
Totally.
So I lit myself on fire.
You know, I can relate
Yeah.
fully and completely to this.
And if you are a circus artist, and all the circus artists right now are like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Everyone that's not a circus artist is like,
People always ask me when they hear that I do fire, they're like, oh my God, do you ever burn yourself? And I'm
yeah,
like, all the time.
yeah. Or
I'm like,
does it hurt?
Oftentimes
And
it's
like
intentional.
Well, yeah, yeah. I have this thing. I light my tongue on fire. I leave the flame on there, and I just like leave it there because I just feel their energy, and I fucking love it. And I'm I am actually burning myself at this point, but I love it. Like, and then the next morning I wake up and I'm like,
yeah, why did I do that?
Smart. Like drinking my coffee, I'm like, oof.
Same.
Yeah.
I still have this mark on my arm from my birthday where I fleshed
God.
for too long.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And the bruises. Oh my God. I think
yeah.
all my bruises finally kind of died down from last week.
It's like, what?
Yeah.
What even?
You gotta show the camera. You gotta stand up and show the camera.
It's so awful.
This is very common. Now, this is very different from the modeling world. You know, we're talking circus here, and you know, and that's why I kind of want this all-encompassing of entertainment, because you know, the way that your brain is wired when you're an entertainer is so odd. And there's something like different, like whatever avenue of whether it's acting, circus, modeling, your brain is wired a little different. Totally. It's wired very different. You are doing things very outside the norm, and you're choosing to. And half the time, you know, you're starting broke to do it because you're like, you have to do it. Yeah. You know, I don't know why I have to light myself on fire, but I do.
I mean, I have like sort of a theory for myself personally about it. Like, I'm one of 9. So, and I'm number 4, and I got forgotten a lot when I was like.
And you were the troublemaker, so it's like, how can I cause more trouble?
Cause more trouble, and how can I not be forgotten?
Yeah, let me light myself on fire,
let me on a stage.
Yeah. Seriously.
So like that's some childhood shit right there.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Crazy. Okay, so something really interesting that I've noticed being in both the modeling and the live entertainment world is that I have more men who say they don't want to date me because I'm a burlesque dancer than an OnlyFans model. I know. I've had more men be like, you need to quit your burlesque job versus your OnlyFans job, which I think is so interesting because on OnlyFans you're actually doing sexual things a lot of the time. Yeah. Whereas as a burlesque dancer, it's an art form. You're 100%. Not touching people. Yeah. Like you're not getting fully naked. Right. Like, you know, it's not porn at all.
It's choreographed dance.
It's dancing. Like, and I find it so fascinating. So for you, you know, also being in this pole dancing burlesque world, I mean, we're very good friends, but tell me, how has dating been?
Rough. Well, one, it's like the scheduling is so hard because we work on nights and weekends. Yeah. You know?
The prime dating hours.
Exactly. When you'd normally go on a date or meet somebody. So like that in itself is already a challenge.
Yeah, you're already set up bad.
I prioritize my work over everything, which I'm working on because I like having a life outside of it too. But if I have a date set up and then I get a gig offer on that same day, you bet your ass I'm taking the gig because maybe I'll have a weekend where I'm not booked and then I need that extra money. Yeah. So that's a challenge. But I feel like this is kind of diverging a little bit from your initial question. Dating it's hard because a lot of men don't understand our lifestyle. And they either they think that they put you on this pedestal and they think that you're just going to be this like sex object always.
Yeah. Always the fantasy. Always. Yeah. And the second you're funny, you're smart, they're kind of like, wait, I don't want that part. Right. Like, just be the fantasy girl. Exactly. You know, get in the back bend and fuck me, and then flip your legs and like.
Yeah. So there's that, and then there's also the men that are like insanely jealous if they're not in this
I stay
world.
Far away from those ones.
And then there's the ones that like, because of what we do and that we're in the limelight, and this goes in with the jealousy, but like they're so insecure and they can't handle it. And they just assume that, you know, we're getting people sliding into our DMs all the time, which is true. But still, it's like,
yeah,
it's just not, we, at the end of the day, correct me if I'm wrong, but like, we want a human connection with the person.
Yeah,
like
definitely. Well, and as artists, we feel heavy.
Exactly.
Like we feel very deeply. And so it's like, you know, I think it's true of a lot of artists. When you're in love, you are like in love.
For sure. We're passionate.
We're very passionate. Yeah, I know, like with the DMs, like, yeah, I don't even know how many DMs I have at this point.
Right.
But I do know it's to the point. Instagram doesn't even show me.
Yeah.
Like you could DM me and I will never see it.
Right. And you don't.
And I don't
likely
need to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I think guys think that I'm like on my phone DMing guys all day, and like I'm not. It takes me forever to text you back, like let alone like how in the hell would I text? I don't even fucking know. I'm busy.
Not possible.
Yeah, there's no way. There's no way. Okay, so I know that you are open.
Sort of, yeah.
You're kind of open.
I would say more like situational.
Okay.
Well, because I like women also.
That's right.
So
that's right.
Because of that, I usually like to leave room for that. Most men are fucking stoked about that, obviously.
For sure, yeah, yeah.
But there's a few that haven't been. And then there's just like people that just don't understand the difference of, you know, anything but monogamy.
Yeah, that's true. Cause so first, would you ever be fully monogamous? Like, do you think that's something you could / would want to do if you were like?
So I have been.
You have.
I have been in the past, and then I had a relationship. I don't know, like 2 years ago, here in LA. We dated for like 6 months, and we started off open, but then he decided he was not down with that.
Oh.
Yeah.
How did you feel about that?
It was an interesting way it came about. So I was kind of playing with this couple, and I already had told him. We like FaceTimed, and like I introduced him to them or whatever. And then I get home, and he was like, "Actually, I'm not cool with that." And I was like,
"Wow.
Well, it already happened." So like,
a little late.
Yeah. And then he was like, "'Cause I'm in love with you." And I was like, "Okay."
Was that the first time he told you?
Yeah.
Oh God.
And then I was like, shit, okay, this is not, you know, what I was expecting, but I also really loved him also. So I was like, if this is your boundary, I'm willing to do this for you in this moment. But we didn't end up working out. But I wouldn't say that was why. But so right now where I'm at, I feel like it would have to either start open or not at all.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
And for you, what's your ideal relationship in terms of like open and closed?
I just finally think I reached the conclusion on that. So
great, now share it with the world.
I would like one steady person, like partnership, but I think like I like having fun, and I like going to play parties and like hooking up with my friends, and I would like my partner to be involved with me with that. So it would be we make our own rules type of thing.
I see.
Yeah.
I see.
But I would want open communication about it. I'm not the type of like, oh, don't ask, don't tell. Like, no, I want to know. And if I would hope you to want to know, and also for practicing safe sex, you know?
Definitely.
It's important to communicate about that stuff.
Yeah. Oh man, I have a few different questions.
Okay.
So first, you know, you were saying how you like hooking up with your friends.
Yeah. They're all so hot.
Oh, God. Have you found? So, okay. I like had a best friend who was in an open relationship with her boyfriend, and they really wanted me to join in with them, and I never did, and I'm very happy I didn't, but mainly because of how the situation was more than anything else.
Yeah.
Do you find that in hooking up with your friends, does that cause any like emotional conflict? Any, is there any like weird extra tension that goes on that wouldn't be there if you guys weren't all hooking up?
It's a great question. I feel like I am really blessed with my group of friends, and we're all extremely open and communicative. And like the last time I was a unicorn recently, we actually sat in a circle and talked about like our boundaries and like our STI statuses and like what we were down with and what we weren't down with. And we also made the rule that that can change at any moment if we want it to. Yeah. You could stop a situation and be like, actually, no, I don't want this anymore. And so having that like super conscious, open conversation prior is what makes me even more open to doing it, because I feel safe and I'm like, this isn't gonna be weird. We talked about that exact thing. Yeah. Can we make sure this isn't weird after? Like we all love each other. And like, I'm like, number one, I'm not trying to steal your husband. Yeah. You know, like I'm only down with what you're down with me doing. Like you call the shots, you know? Yeah. And so it's not been an issue.
Wow. And is in your, like, let's say, because I think you have a best friend and her boyfriend, right? Mm-hmm. Do you and her boyfriend kiss? Yeah. Wild, but it's been fine.
She loves it.
Really? Yeah. That's so crazy. Yeah. But I mean, it's awesome because it sounds like the most important thing is that there's clear communication. Yeah. And you all love each other and it works. And I think that's a really rare and lucky thing.
I agree. I feel super blessed, honestly.
Yeah, definitely. That's incredible. So, and that's why too, like I'm fully monogamous, I couldn't, but I think a lot of that is rooted in like my childhood and my growing up and what I need from a partner. Yeah. But I think too, it has a lot to do not just with you and your partner, but who you choose.
Totally.
So in that case too, you're open, but I'm assuming that means like, if you meet a hot couple, are you quick to be like, oh yeah, you guys are hot, let me jump in? Or is it like, I need to build a level of trust? Is it almost like dating?
Yeah, it's more, at least in my experience, like I'm not really like looking for a couple. It's more like, oh, I've built such a foundation with these people that I love and trust, and they're really attractive. Yeah. We're all down. Yeah. And everybody's respecting each other and we're communicating first. And so that's important to me.
Yeah, definitely. Do you want a family one day?
I feel like that and marriage are like situational. For a while, I was like just no to both of them, like completely. But then I've found myself randomly being like, oh, when I have a kid, I'm gonna such and such a thing. And then I'm like, I never used to have those thoughts before.
Interesting.
So clearly there's a desire somewhere.
Yeah.
In this current moment, absolutely not. I love my life and I can barely take care of my dog. So no children right now, but I think it could be possible if I met the right person that I really saw a future with.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, currently no.
Okay. I want to ask something about, okay, so especially coming from, okay, so I think we've already established you're different.
You don't say.
To say the least. You're a circus artist. You light yourself on fire. Yeah. You're open, but also not just like let me have sex with everybody kind of open. Right. Like it's kind of like you're almost like dating everyone that you are interacting with, whether it's like a couple, whether it's a person, whether it's a group. There's this clear, open communication, this conversation that's happening. It's not just like, let's fuck, Right, like there's a lot of love and trust built into all these relationships you have.
Very much
I'm just talking about it and I'm overwhelmed. That's another reason why I'm monogamous. I'm like, I am such an empathetic person. Yeah. And if I love someone, I'm so like, I'll drop everything in a heartbeat.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm trying to manage like several people's emotions, I get so overwhelmed. Like I can't handle it.
I kind of like fell into these situations though after already having like such a solid friendship with them. So it wasn't, again, like I sought it out really. I think that would be different. And then because of it, of having that foundation where like I wouldn't say I'm like dating them, you know what I mean? But we hang out so much that we know each other so well, which is what you would do if you were dating somebody.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so if you would you be another like let's say you're at a show and a couple comes up to you and they ask you to partake in their relationship.
If I don't know them, probably not. You know, I'd want to build a relationship like first. Yeah, a connection. Connection is very important to me.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, that's really, really interesting.
Yeah.
So what do you see, especially in like all these open relationships, you know, in our first podcast that we talked about like a woman's role in dating, but we talked about it in like a monogamous standpoint and like a very like kind of traditional kind of stance. So with where you're at, how do you see, with all these different energies going on and roles going on, what do you see like a woman's role being in a relationship and a man's role too?
Good question. I feel like I could answer this in a lot of different ways. I think every partnership should make their own rules with that, you know, based on what they feel is good for them. Obviously, we have the societal norms, and then we have the rebellious people, and then the feminists, and it's, you know, I don't know. I think everybody is unique and different, but I know for myself personally in a relationship, like I'm a Cancer moon, so I'm naturally extremely nurturing and caregiving. I'm very motherly, whether I want to be or not. That's just kind of the role I jump into.
Yeah.
But I also really appreciate a man taking care of me, you know? But I'm also extremely independent. So it's like, there's just like, it's so hard to answer that question.
Yeah.
I want to be supported, but not necessarily like fully financially. I want you to show up to my show. I want you to get to know my friends. And, you know, pick me up from somewhere, things like that.
Yeah.
My role, I don't know, I would say equals almost.
Okay.
In a way.
That being said,
yeah,
because this was a big question we had on some of the other podcasts, and I wasn't planning on asking you this, but now I'm just curious.
Yeah.
Do you think a man should pay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So interesting.
I mean, okay, here's why. And I'll preface this with, I think it depends if I'm in a partnership with a man and I'm making more money than he is, I don't think that's fair.
Okay.
However.
So on the first date, if you make more money than him and you guys are going,
he's paying for me on the first date.
Continue.
For sure.
I'm just curious.
Yeah. But if it were to turn into a long-term thing, and that was the case. For sure. But usually I'm not dating anybody like that. We're good there. But we get our hair done, our nails done, we buy makeup, we buy all this shit to make ourselves look the way we do and to maintain it. That shit is expensive. You can pay for my stuff. You should pay for my stuff. Yeah. Do you want me to look this hot?
Oh my gosh.
Honestly.
Okay, so now, additional question. Let's say you're in a relationship and you guys take on a unicorn. Is it now the man's responsibility to pay?
Yeah.
Okay, so he has to pay for both girls.
Absolutely.
If he wants the open relationship, he has to pay for both.
Definitely.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. So, okay, another question. Let's say he's like, okay, babe, like you saw a girl, you think she's hot, you're like, I want to bring her in.
Yeah.
And he says, I think she's hot too, but I can't afford another one of you. Like, I can only afford you. What do you do in that situation?
Then it's just me.
Okay. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, simple.
So interesting. So interesting.
I need to be the main character.
Okay. So then would you do an open relationship where it was like one guy, two girlfriends, but she's also your girlfriend?
Yeah.
Do you feel that takes away from you being the main character at all?
I've not been in that situation, so I'm not sure.
So you won't know? So
Yeah, it's been more like playing together, not dating.
Yeah,
not in like
yeah.
a throuple.
Yeah.
So if that happens, I'll get back to you and let you know. It would just, again, situational rules would need to be made in that moment surrounding it and could change at any point.
Now, would you ever, if you had a boyfriend, would you ever take on a girlfriend that's just your girlfriend?
Maybe? I don't know. That seems like a lot of responsibility. We don't have a lot of free time.
No, we don't. We don't. Well, and that's one thing that I find interesting because, I think I talked about this in the first episode. I do think a man should pay also, but I'm also a big, like, once we're dating, we've established something, we're seeing each other regularly, we're going out a lot. Like, I come to a point where I'm like I need to pay for half too. Like, I think, my last relationship, we were in Australia and traveling, and he wanted to pay for everything, which made me respect him so much. And I was so taken. Yeah. But it did get to the point where at one point I was like, I have to pay for something. Like, I can't, and he let me pay for a really nice dinner, and I felt so good. And there was, which I found was interesting for me. There was a point where I reached where I was like, I can't have you pay for everything because now I almost feel inferior. I feel like a dependent. I feel overly reliable. And I feel like I'm not even contributing. Yes. Especially because I am working too. Yeah.
And that's a big part of it.
It's a big part of it. Yeah, we're working women. And I think that's maybe a misconception that's out there too, is that, because we expect men to pay. And I've noticed this. I think a lot of men are almost scared to date because they know it's a hard economy. Yeah. And I feel it. I take care of myself fully.
I feel like we've talked about this before too.
Yeah.
Where it's like, well, they can't afford to have a girlfriend.
We do. Yeah. 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 We do understand, but then there's also, this is another thing we talked about in the first episode, and I think it's really fascinating because the first episode we talked about full-on monogamy, and it's interesting to now talk about it in an open circumstance as well. Yeah. And what's really interesting is in both circumstances, the women see the role of the man and the woman the exact same, whether you're open or monogamous. Yeah. But yeah, I think it is now a double economy. It to have a man fully support for everything, living in at least LA or Miami. Well, let's just say LA. Yeah. It's hard.
It's hard.
It's expensive. Yeah. And if you have a normal job, if you're an artist, unless you are a millionaire, to get a house out here, to have kids out here, it is expensive. Just to park your car,
Don't remind
everything
me.
is expensive. So, I think it's interesting to see, and we talked about this, men and women's role. It still is men provider, protector, women supporter, nurturer. There is some more, I think, flexibility in that now with how culture is and how the economy is, and it's important.
Yeah. I agree, though, with what you were saying about, I don't think the man should pay fully 100% the entire time. And I wouldn't want that either. I would feel inferior. Yeah. I had my longest relationship. He paid for pretty much everything. And I was working, and I would have to beg sometimes, let me get this one. Yeah. It's not even about the money. It's I want to do something nice for you.
Yeah. Just thank you. Yeah.
Let me do that.
Yeah.
So, a happy 80-20 is good.
I like that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is nice. And I think that is one thing about, working women. We do like to contribute financially as well, too. It's not a full on, like, you do it all. Like, there is an aspect of partnership in there that is important. And I think it doesn't feel good I could never be the girl that's like, where's my credit card?
Yeah,
I couldn't.
And it's like, I don't know, we work really hard at what we do, and like I can financially sustain myself. I'm doing it right now. But it would be nice to not have to pay.
Yeah. I do love, like, I do love when I have to beg to pay for something. And it's because, to me, I have gotten to the point where I feel so secure with you and so safe and so, like, comfortable, where it's like, I want to do this for you. Like, give me a chance to just, like, thank you for being my man, you know?
Right.
Whereas if you're broke and you're not taking care of me, I'm like, fuck you, why are we together? Exactly. Like, what the fuck? Like,
true.
Yeah. So, but, the other interesting thing is, though, I talked to Sky about this on his podcast, actually. Like, I also don't think I could stop working myself. And, it's interesting because I brought up how, like, in the podcast before, how, we need a man to pay, especially at the beginning, to show that they're investing, they're going to make us feel safe, they're going to protect us, provide for us.
100%.
In the same way, though, I've had many men, ask me to quit my job.
Yeah.
Not to stop working, but to quit my job.
Yeah. I hate that.
Yeah. And I hate that, one, because it's what I love to do.
Yeah.
But also, I told Sky on his podcast that, I think I'm at a point where I'm most likely, there in very few circumstances would I delete my OnlyFans for a relationship.
Yeah.
Very, very, very few. Most likely I would not. And for me, it's another form of security.
Totally.
And so I think, a working woman it's important, because you want to feel, I would love to feel so safe to where I could quit everything and say, I know you got it, I know you got me. But even if not, I think there's the reality too that, like, the world's a crazy place. What if he loses his job?
You never know.
What if the economy just tanks, which it has? What if a fucking quarantine happens and the world shuts down, which we all know is possible, because it literally happened to us. So I think too, like, a working woman is a beautiful thing. Yeah. A woman who does want to contribute is a beautiful thing. A man who wants to take care of a working woman is also a beautiful thing. And in the same way, like, a woman's role is to also take care of her man. And yeah, that means maybe contributing financially. It also means giving him a safe space. It also means giving him, I love the idea of, having a safe environment for my man to come home to after he's working, But in the same way as, like, women have to contribute more with a double economy, men also have to kind of be a little bit more emotionally intelligent and also support the woman when she comes home too, because we work fucking hard also.
Truthfully.
I mean, do you not see the bruises?
Yeah, exactly.
So, and that was, again, what was so beautiful about my last relationship was, he paid for everything. But he got a free cruise to travel to 3 different countries with me because I was working.
Right.
So yeah, he paid for all the meals and everything.
That sounds like a fair trade.
Yeah. And then too, like, after the shows, he'd give me a massage, He
Good.
saw the work I was putting in. And he was also a nurturing space for me too.
Yeah.
Even though the roles were still provider, protector, supporter, nurturer, we still had a good flow and a balance. And, like, it's so important. So
it's so important.
Yeah. So, and I think that's a big thing in this day and age, because I think a lot of times we're kind of losing, like, what is the role of a man and a woman? And I think there's this idea, especially from us being in this very sexual industry. I think, I've said this on a couple podcasts. Men assume women are sexual to get attention, when, and a lot of times, we found a way to take care of ourselves. We found a way to take our sexuality, which we are already getting so much, like, abuse or harassment every single day. The second we walk out the street, we've just found a way to monetize it, to empower ourselves, to take care of ourselves so that we're not like fucking getting raped on the streets, you know? And, you know, in this, where was I going with that? I got a little passionate, lost my train of thought.
Let it out. Let it out. I will just interject there and add that if they could do that, they would too.
They would too.
Let's be real.
It's crazy. Like, you know, it's wild to think about. Oh, yeah. So yeah, women, you know, men think women just do it for attention, but we found a way to take care of ourselves when they can't.
Right.
And in the same way, I think women have this idea. I think women, I've noticed, we've actually talked about this. I have noticed a very strong man-hating mentality that's come up. Like, oh, you know, he's too lazy. You know, he's not paying for all my stuff. He's just a fuckboy. But I think in the same way that women have found a way to work, men, I think, are experiencing, and, you know, I could be wrong. I'm not a man here, so I'm being a little bold saying this. I think men are going through a lot of their own insecurities. I think men are not feeling as supported because women are such go-getters, which I think we should be. But I think there's been so much down talk of men.
Well, we don't need them anymore. That's the problem.
I think I disagree with that.
I think because of the way that our society once was and now how it is, like the working woman, like a lot of us in particular, are not only in our feminine power and we completely embody that divine femininity and we monetize that, but we can sustain ourselves without the protection and support of a man if we want to. And that's scary for them because we don't need them.
I would have to say,
in the way that
I see what you're saying,
you know,
though.
like
yeah,
back in history,
we are.
Like
yeah, no, that's
women
true.
Weren't allowed to have an education or to vote or to drive or any of those.
I mean, that's
things.
a good point.
So
a woman's
needed a man.
That's true.
To do those
no, that
things.
is true.
We don't need them anymore for those things.
Yeah, the difference between need and want
is
a big difference.
Yes,
it is very true.
Yeah.
And I think that's where maybe some of the insecurities that men are experiencing is coming from, because the man was the world for the woman. Literally. You couldn't do anything as a woman before.
Yeah.
And it depended on the status of your man. It depended on his wealth. It fully depended on him. And you're right. Now you can you can take care of yourself. You can make your own money. You're right. We don't need a man. But I think, you know, almost kind of rephrasing it too. It's not just about, you know, whether we need a man. I think it's more about men no longer own us. It's not, do we need a man or not? Because, like, I will say, like, I would love to say I need a man. I want someone to protect and provide for me. There still are things that I can't give myself.
In a different way. Like,
in
not
a different way.
You know, the way that it used to be way back in the day when we had no rights.
Yes. They no longer can own us. Yeah. They can't control us.
Right.
We are not their property anymore because we were.
Exactly.
For like pretty much all of mankind until this past century, worldwide, we were men's property.
And in some countries, it still is that way.
A lot, it is. I mean, you know, I would even say in America, it still is a thing.
We're in a bubble here.
Yeah, we are. Like, this is a very unique city where women can fully belong to themselves. And I think it does contribute a lot to the fuckboy culture because men don't know their role anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think we're saying the same thing.
Ultimately. We are. We're just saying it a little different, but it's the exact same thing.
Like, even though I'm saying, like, we don't need them. Yeah. Of course I need a man. Yeah. I want a man. Yeah. But it's in a different capacity.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. And it's so funny because, you know, I was with our friends the other day, and this Miley Cyrus's song came on. You know, I can buy myself flowers. I can hold my own hands. And I looked at them and I was like, I hate this song.
I hate that song too.
I hate that song.
Mostly just because it's obnoxious.
It is. But also, like, why are you telling them I don't need you to? I need you to buy me flowers.
I love flowers.
Please buy me some fucking flowers. Is that too
I'll
much
buy
to
you
ask?
flowers.
Thanks, girl. Thanks, girl. Oh, proving we don't need them.
Damn it.
But we still fucking want them.
Yeah.
Like, and we want you to still be a man.
Yeah.
And the beautiful thing about a working woman, I think it's easy for a man to be like, well, she makes more money than me. She can go sell her body online.
Right.
She has the tool for OnlyFans.
Yeah.
Why the fuck do I have to pay?
Right.
And it kind of comes back to this, like, the safety thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's about this is what we need a man for. We need you to make us feel safe.
Absolutely, that's number one.
We need to, we do, and this is where, again, the lines are kind of blurred, but in a good way of like, yeah, a man can provide, a woman can help now. In the same way, yeah, a woman nurtures, but a man needs to nurture too. And I think, and that's why I was saying earlier, it's not about how much you spend on me on a date. In fact, I'm actually more turned off the more money you spend on me.
Yeah.
It's about you showing the effort and the fact that you're going to invest in me.
Yeah.
That you
100%.
are buying, I don't care if it's a fucking $5 ice cream. You are telling me I got you.
Yeah.
That's it.
The investment. That means
It's
that
a
you see
big
a long
thing.
term.
Yeah.
At least that's how I see it.
Yeah.
Like you see a future. So yeah, you're investing.
You're investing time, money, whatever. It's so important.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's where, you know, a man's role is still what it always was. It's just, you know, instead of like this, I think there's so much like man-hating culture, woman-hating culture. Oh, women are too sexual now. Men are like fuckboys and naughty. I think men are very emotional. They're very sensitive.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think it's really comes down to reframing and realizing, you know, we have a chance to have a teammate now on both ends. We can have a teammate, you know, men can have a teammate in a woman who also makes money, who also wants to contribute, and who's not asking you to pay her bills.
Right.
I want a man to pay for me for my dinner. I'm not asking you to pay my rent.
Right.
In fact, I would never allow a man to pay my rent unless we were living together and both paying. Yeah. Because to me, the second a man is paying my rent, we are moving back into he owns me.
Well, yeah.
And that
then it feels
terrifies
like you owe them
me.
something.
Yes, exactly.
Or they just have this like unspoken thing of like, you know, because I do this, you have to do this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's a big reason why I won't delete my OnlyFans.
Yep.
Why I make my own money. You know, why I do have to contribute and pay sometimes also.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like my biggest thing with that is that I want a partner, a potential partner to see me. I want them to see how hard I work and how self-sufficient I am and still want to take care of me.
Yeah, definitely. It's true because we get tired also.
Yeah.
We work
but I want
hard
to be like acknowledged for that. You know?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And there's something beautiful about a man being a man and being a traditional man that is a provider and a protector, whether you're open, whether you're monogamous. You know, I think the role of a man is still the same. And I think the role of a woman is still the same too, you know? You both work, but a woman is there to support and to nurture. And as I've said before, that doesn't mean I'm just going to do whatever you want. I'm just going to rub your shoulders, you know, whenever you command me to. It means you also call him out and you help to elevate him. Yeah. To be what he needs to be that leader. You know, you don't just say, hey, lead me. You say, how can I help you lead me?
How can we lead together?
Yeah, really. All right. What's our dare? Do we have any questions on what's our dare?
This guy said, no pussy point on the menu? I'm with it.
Where's the money,
subscribe
honey?
to a different live for that. Today is not that day.
She doesn't like women, so.
This is true.
That's part of it.
Yeah. Sorry. The men are behind the camera, so, you know, tough luck. What's our dare?
I have a question.
Let's hear it.
Priscilla, where do you find couples, on Field or Instagram?
They're literally my friends. So neither.
Well, you're not on Field?
No.
Okay.
No. The dating apps are so hard. Every so often I'll go on them and then I'm like, oh God, this is what I'm working with. Okay, I'm just gonna go to a festival and meet like 7 hot people there at least.
Jump in an orgy
Like
dome.
Burning Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I would never,
Plenty there. Well, it's like all the people that are like me that are weird and open and like I feel like I don't have to like explain things to people in that type
That
of
makes
scene.
sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
You know?
Yeah.
I do know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just go to Burning Man. You'll find plenty of couples that want a unicorn.
Yeah,
Trust
for
me.
real. Oh my gosh.
Or play parties. There's always couples there.
There you go.
Very full answer for you right
Yeah,
there.
she got all the information. All right, what is our dare?
Could you show us one of your dance moves?
One of my dance moves? I mean, yeah, I'll just drop into a split, I guess.
Yeah.
It's the usual party trick, right?
Oh my gosh.
Are you gonna do it with me?
Mine is
or...
I am, and I did realize that as soon as I started, I was like, oh, this was the one episode to not wear a dress for. Like,
That's why I switch out of the skirt.
yeah, I usually jump into an elbow stand.
It's always competition.
You know, it kind of depends on like what part of the body.
Okay,
Oh,
let's.
this has to face a competition.
I love with the little dance move, the hair flip and everything.
Yeah.
There we go.
Always the drop into the split.
Bam. Drop into the
You
split.
know?
I would do my party trick, but you know, Playboy would love it. Playboy would love it. I'm in a dress.
Can you do like a little twirl or something?
Yeah, give us something.
What's your party trick? Now I'm curious.
I wonder if I can do this not facing the camera. How? I feel like it almost makes it more of a challenge. How can I?
I'm happy to support you if I have an idea.
The extra dare. I'm about to flash you guys big time. I think if I go this way, it's okay.
Whatever it is, you got this.
Actually, no, it's gonna completely come out. What kind of a thong am I wearing here? Everything.
That's my favorite song.
Maybe I should throw on some shorts. I wonder if I can like squeeze.
Yeah, I don't know what you're gonna do, so I don't know how to help you.
Yeah, it's a very tiny thong though. Can I do this without splitting
We're all
my
really
legs?
upset about that.
Yeah. I'm totally gonna flash completely.
No, that's what you're comfortable with, you know.
I'm trying to think what's YouTube okay. Let me see here. You're gonna have to
Yeah.
edit this shot or
You
like
got this.
adjust it. There's no way for me to do this without fully flashing. Should I throw shorts on or should I just do it?
Well, do the split towards me. Like, do that
I think
way.
the whole skirt's gonna come up.
Probably.
There's no way to not. But see, if I split towards you, they're gonna see. They're gonna
So
get a
just put your
full.
hand over her butt.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll go like.
I don't think you guys understand how much skin's about to be out. All right. It's for the podcast.
You got this.
Blocking.
There you go.
Blocking.
Teamwork
Yes,
makes the
queen.
dream work.
Woo! I love this job.
Oh, wow. That's sick.
And Alyssa.
Epic. Hell yes, babe. I feel like you're covered, sort of.
This
Covered.
this is how I have all these dudes helping me out with the podcast, throwing me a party. I just throw some party tricks and they're like, damn, okay, what do you want us to do?
Perfect.
Oh, you guys got a full show. Like, you know, like.
We forgot the whole conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Good. Any more of that?
Okay, this is professional.
It's like that. The lighting. in
Yeah.
that angle.
You need to do that again and shift this way. You know, all right. Well, thank you so much for joining.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And we will see you guys next week.
Woo.
Bye.